All right, legends, welcome to another live stream. Let's analyze the price of Bitcoin together. Let me just put the music ever so slightly in the background. Hope you all had or having a great week so far, already in the halfway mark of this week. Wednesday. Is it Wednesday? Yes, it's Wednesday today. Currently 11:15 in the morning here in South Africa. Guys, let's do some technical analysis. As you can see, I'm here on the 4-hour time frame. Okay, let's just jump right into the technical analysis. And I will say hi to the community in a moment, but first, let's do some analysis here on the price of Bitcoin. As per the thumbnail, can we get a little bit of a relief rally here to the upside? Okay, as you can see, just wanted to point this out before we start. We had this nice little consolidation area over here, okay, before we went into all-time high. And where did we bounce? Exactly at the value area high of this entire range. That is where price got the bounce. And now the question is, can this structure form impulsive waves here to the upside to give us at least a nice little relief rally? Okay, and I would like, guys, it's so important for this high to be claimed at $117,000, right? Because that will invalidate a nasty little correction here to the downside. Okay, you do not understand how important it is for price to claim this high. Because looking at this structure, let me just zoom in over here. Okay, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but one could argue that this is a 1 and a 2, okay? And this could be another 1 and a 2. If it does not claim this high, okay, you have a situation where you have a 1, 2, 1, 2, and then all hell breaks loose and you tank aggressively. It can take us below $100,000, $98,000, and because you have a double 1, 2, you're going to get that choppiness here to the downside as well. So for the bulls, guys, we need to fight to hold this or to reclaim this level over here, because that will invalidate a double 1, 2, okay, where the probabilities will increase that this is a 3-wave corrective structure. As soon as you take this high, okay, regardless of what happens over here, yes, the correction can still continue. It's perfectly fine. But if you take this high, okay, it means that the correction could potentially still go a little bit sideways. So it can go up, it can still take the low, but it's going to fail to break down. It's going to stop. Okay, and it's going to go up, and maybe it's going to claim the low again, but it's not going to go down aggressively. So bulls, you need to fight. Okay, where's the $1 billion in your account? 100x leverage. Let's go push the price. Let's at least claim this pivot. Okay, so for now, if the bulls can hold this low, it's fine if we come down for a double bottom. That's perfectly fine. And okay, double bottom is perfectly fine, right? But for the bulls, what you would like to see is for this high to be claimed, to invalidate an impulse to the downside. Because an impulse to the downside, guys, is not good, okay? Because if you have formed an all-time high and you go down in an impulse, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. This is dangerous, guys, because if you have an impulse in a downwards direction, the danger of this is you could have a 3-wave structure to the upside and you can have continuation. You could basically start the bear market. Okay, that's the danger of an impulse to the downside. Right, so for now, we are still here, so let's focus on, well, what is happening over here, right? So, let's go here onto the 1-hour time frame. Right, quickly, I just want to go back to the 8-hour time frame because I have had some questions. Okay, let me take this little structure out the way. I've had some little questions about Dewald, that contracting diagonal. Okay, do I still have it here? No, it's not that one. Ending diagonal macro. Here we go. Okay, I've had some questions about this little structure, which has now been invalidated, by the way, but no, not really. It's not invalidated because we have already created the fifth wave, so I can take that out. So what I want to explain over here, legends, is that we all know historically September during bull cycles are bearish. Okay, so if his history is going to repeat itself and we're going to get a larger corrective structure during September and still continue the bull market, well, this can potentially be your high, okay, where you formed a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Contracting diagonal, looks nice, it's fine. The fifth wave did claim the 3, which is perfectly fine. So everything balances from a contracting leading diagonal perspective. And this is just your first leg here to the downside, inside of a larger corrective structure. And if this is a leading diagonal and we have formed wave 1 over here and we're going to form wave 2 over here and continue the bull market to the upside, well, you can see it is not time to take the high. It's not time. Okay. Based on this scenario, you want the correction to end after the 3rd of October. This is where your correction needs to end. So for the bulls, to give the scenario higher probability that we're not just going to tank down here and take the low and start a bear market, what the bulls would like to do is claim that little pivot, like I've just explained, okay, which will open the door for a larger corrective structure to finish after the 0.382, and then we can continue momentum to the upside. So do you guys see how important it is to claim this high over here? Okay, because it will confirm whatever happens over here, okay, we are most likely going to claim this high and continue the bull market. The danger of breaking down, okay, is the following. If we break down here in a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, yes, you still have a higher low. Great, you still have a higher low. Okay, but now you have an impulse to the downside. Now that becomes dangerous because remember guys, an ending diagonal carries higher probability than a leading diagonal. Leading diagonal is you want to form a higher low and continue. Ending diagonal is you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and you start the bear market. You're going to take this low. Okay, unfortunately from a probabilities perspective, an ending diagonal carries higher probability. Okay, so for the bulls, you don't want to see an impulse. Yes, you can still label this as a corrective structure, which is an A wave. Okay, because the A wave is allowed to be an impulse. But I mean, it's just not going to be sexy, guys. It's going to be sexy. It's not going to be sexy, right? So just to keep it simple, the bulls needs to claim $170,000, $117,000, 200 give or take, right? And also what would be nice to hold price over here, what would be really nice if price can hold over here and claim this high is it opens up the possibility for a more bullish structure than a leading diagonal, because you could still have that 1, 2, 1, 2 without taking this low, okay, and we can continue aggressively to the upside in a double 1, 2 combo, right? So this is basically how I see the structure playing out. So there's still a lot of information that we need, but I can tell you guys now, I know what I'm looking for, okay? As long as price does not claim this low and it dances around here for a little bit longer, okay, or it goes up from here, but then I want to count an impulsive structure, which I'll get to. Guys, I'm going to analyze this little structure over here in a second. We're going to get there. Okay, so you could still have a 1, 2, 1, 2, okay, if you do not claim that low. That is the preferred scenario, and it actually carries much higher probability than a leading or an ending diagonal, because I know everyone is watching this, okay, the leading or ending diagonal. But a double 1, 2 combo actually carries higher probability, but you should not take this low. So you do not want an impulsive structure to the downside, because you're almost guaranteed to take this low. Okay. Right, so now the question is, well, Dewald, okay, can this be a three-wave structure that has ended? Can it be a three-wave structure? Even if the correction continues, maybe it goes three-wave up, it goes another three-wave down, you have a beautiful three-wave structure that still forms a higher low, okay? Which then states, well, you could either have the leading diagonal or you could have the double 1-2 combo, but it would be great if the bulls can protect this low. Okay, if we want an euphoric, absolutely mind-blowing bull market during the end of this year, November, December, January, you don't want to take this low, okay? Because a double 1-2 combo is very bullish compared to a leading diagonal. Right, legends, now we can go on to the 15-minute time frame and analyze this little structure. Okay, is there a chance for the low to be in? I have spent many hours counting this structure, guys. It is a very confusing, ugly structure. I'm not going to lie. I don't think there has been a time like now where I've really struggled to count this structure from an Elliot wave perspective. And all I'm trying to figure out, can this be the end? And even with one more low, can this still be the end? Okay, so I want to go through those scenarios, and then we can go through some trading scenarios as well. So just by the way, maybe before I dive into this little structure, if I go here onto the 5-minute time frame, and I just look at this little structure over here, while myself and the Legends Pro community, together with Andy, we were brainstorming, we got into a long right over here. We got into a long. Bang. Okay, I'm going to get back to the structure, but just from a simplicity perspective, okay, if I take a fib, trend-based fib from the high to the low to the high, well, it's not that one. Sorry, guys, it's not that one. I actually have them marked out here. I just want to see it's not that one. It's this one. Okay, yes, this is what I did, right? If I take a trend-based fib from the low to the high, I reverse it. You can see we tapped the 1.618 and got the bounce. Right, for those of you that were sniper, the legends, okay, your entry should be in this zone somewhere. And I would say it's also, if you have an entry in this zone somewhere, it's also a good time to protect position. Always, always, always. But I'm currently in the trade, just want to see nice profits here to the upside. Yeah, currently 11% up. Okay, only had 35x leverage, only entered with 2% of my capital, nothing crazy. Right, but nice little profits in the bag at the moment. And what I am trying, well, what we are aiming for over here, guys, and I'm going to circle back to this structure. I just want to do the larger time frame structure as well, is that we basically aim gunning for these highs over here. That's what I'm basically gunning for a TP area, okay? But I will be taking profits over here. TP1 for me, okay? You might have a different plan. This is my TP2, and I'm leaving a moon bag open for higher levels. Okay, and I will get to the scenarios on the lower time frame in a second. I just quickly wanted to explain that, okay? Because what could happen is you come back for a retest, you form a higher low. Now that is a good opportunity, and you continue. So you basically form a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so there's still a chance to get in here if you see a retracement. Please do not FOMO into trades, because I always scream risk management. Okay, right. And for those of you that did catch it, yeah, at the 618, but I was also looking at this pivot over here, guys. As you know, in the Legends Pro community, I said, guys, if we get acceptance back above this pivot, I mean, that is a beautiful swing failure pattern. Your entry should be here, your stop below the low. And I think it's already, for me, this is just my style of trading. It's a good time to start de-risking yourself. Okay, so if the price turns against you, you know the deal. You lose nothing. Right. Let me take this out the way. Let's zoom in back onto 30-minute time frame. I think that's going to work the best. Okay, so now this nightmare of a structure here to the downside. Okay, something else, guys. There were so many things I wanted to point out. Okay, I know I'm jumping up and down. But also without knowing anything, you can take a trend-based fib from the high to the low to the high. Where did price get the bounce? exactly, exactly at the 1.382 value area high of this entire range over here. That's also where we got the bounce. That also was a beautiful swing failure level, by the way. If you take a fib like such, okay, click, 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 1.382. If price decides to fall down, well, I'm going to be paying attention to the next level for another swing failure pattern, because you know, that's what I do as a trader. I watch the reaction at each level. No reaction, no trade. If I can get in with good risk management and I'm wrong and I get stopped out with nothing, well, it was a good attempt to have. Right, so now, okay, now I promise we're going to look at this structure. Okay, and guys, I'm going to go through the comments in a moment. I just quickly want to wrap up the structure over here. I just want to see, do I still have everything? Okay, one of the scenarios that I was looking at is an ABC. Okay, is not my favorite scenario, but it works, right? You have formed an A, B, C. Sorry, a WXY. Okay, a W, sorry, you formed a complicated WXY here to the downside, right? Because the A wave is allowed to have a WXY structure inside of it. You have an A, B, C, okay, W. You have an X to the upside, and you have another A, B, C to the downside to complete your Y wave, which gives you an A. Then you have an A, B, C. Okay, this little structure for me is the easiest to identify because of what happened here. If you have an aggressive move like this to the upside with high volume, it's most likely a C wave. And if I can identify a C wave, well, then the structure before it becomes also very easy, because you have to have an ABC flat. You need to have an A, B that took the low, and a C that takes the high. So A, B, C. There's a nice little flat structure inside of here that gives you your B wave. And now for the bulls, well, maybe this was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, done. And now the question is, okay, we're going to analyze that structure in a moment, because now you have to build impulsive structures back to the upside. And there's a little bit of danger that I see over there at the moment. So there's a chance that price could take the low again. Okay, so the only thing I'm trying to point out over here, guys, is whether you count this as an ABC or whether I'm going to get to the WXY, whether you count this as a WXY, okay, there's a chance that the low is in and we could have a three-wave structure. We claim this high and the correction continues. Okay, because remember, after you have an A, B, C, this can now become a W. Now you want to see an X. Okay, then you're going to form another Y. Okay, so can you see that the correction can continue sideways? But the most important thing for the bulls is to claim this high, so that we can confirm that we can get a more sideways corrective structure. Okay. Right, not sure why my laptop is screaming at me at the moment. It sounds like it's overheating. Maybe I have too many tabs open. Anyways. Low should be in. Dewald the legend. See targets. Stefan 1. See you guys over here. Jeffrey, welcome. Jeroen. BS89. I see you. Manuel, much love. Chris, welcome to the live stream. Just going through some of the comments over here, but I will, towards the end of the live stream, I'm going to take some time and go through all of your comments that you guys are working or writing over here. Okay. So legends, there's a chance that the corrective structure is done. This is it. This is your ABC. It's done. Tick. Okay, and now you're going to build impulsive structures to the upside and start the bull market again. Okay, probabilities, if we take the September, okay, so if we take the September historical bearish consideration into account, the correction needs to continue. If you're leaning in the camp of stuff the September thing, we are just going to surprise everyone and continue to the upside, well, there's a chance the low could be in, because you do have a completed structure over here. Right, so another scenario that I'm looking at, you guys can see, I'm just, doing it a little bit different, is also you have an A, B, C, that ended over here. Simon, I'm not sure if you are in the live stream, because I think it was Simon that asked me the question when I was looking for this wave here to the downside. He asked the question, Dewald, why did you take your trend-based fib from this pivot? I know, guys, it does get very complicated. It's because of what happened here. Okay, because if this is a C to the upside, you need a B flat as well. So you need an A, B, C, and this is why I took the trend-based fib extension from there. Sorry, this 4 needs to move over there. Okay, because that was the end of the impulse. The impulse ended over here. Okay, and then you have an A, B, C. Sorry, this A also needs to move there. Made a couple of small little mistakes. Okay, so it is this structure that tells me where I need to take my fib from. So Simon, if you are in the live stream, not in the live stream, maybe you're going to watch this later. This is why I took my trend-based fib from this pivot to see if we're going to form an A, B, C to the upside. And I wanted to figure out, well, where's it going to bounce over here? Right, and I think if I do take my trend-based fib from this pivot to the high, and I reverse it to the downside, did we tap the 1.618? Did we tap the 1.618? Yes, we did. Yes, we did tap the 1.618. I actually want to take this confirmation out the way. Okay, but before I do, I will get to the 1.618 in a moment, guys. So this last little local move here to the downside, for me personally, counts better as a corrective structure to the downside. Because after you formed an X wave and you're now busy with a Y, you want to see an ABC, okay, in a Y wave. Now this for me counts better as an A, B, C. Inside of your C wave you have, oh sorry, and then you have A. So ABC gives you an A. Then you have an ABC or 3-wave structure in a B. And then there's last little drop here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Done. Y wave. A, B, C. You guys get the point. I know, guys, it gets very complex. It gets like, it's Dewald teaching us our ABCs. What the hell is going on here? Is he teaching us how to count from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Guys, for me, it's important to understand the structure, because based on the structure, I also know from a trading perspective, I can gain directional bias. Ooh, I just went blank there for a second. So what I did yesterday is I told the legends, if this is the low and we can break through my confirmation line, I think there's a chance that we're most likely going to go higher, which it looks like the price is attempting at the moment. Okay, if it can continue here at the moment and claim this damn high over here, it has a chance that this is the low in an A, B, C 3-wave structure. Can you guys see? A, B, C 3-wave structure. You need a 3-wave structure in a Y wave. You need a A, which is ABC. You need a B, which is a 3-wave structure, and you need a C. The last wave has to be a C wave, which we got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the bulls have a chance, okay? But now it depends on what is happening, because after you make a low, you want to see 5 waves to the upside, okay? If you make a 3-wave structure like we have at the moment to the upside, you increase the probabilities of taking this damn low. And this is now what I want to talk about. What is happening here? Okay, right. Lol, Elliot wave theory is so complex. Yes, I know, Pac-Man. But I think then I'll get to the trading probabilities as well. Okay, and this is the beauty, is that once I've explained all the structures and everything like that, you know, then I get to the trading scenarios, like the trade we took over here together as a community. Right. So, and I guess, guys, all I was trying to figure out yesterday, okay, and on Monday, when I counted the structure here to the downside, is there a chance for this to be the low? Is there a chance? This is what I was trying to figure out. Is there a chance that this is the low and we could get a larger bounce to the upside? And there is a count that supports it. Right. Okay. Now I'm going to switch this off. And now we're going to focus on this structure over here, because after you make a low, what you would like to see is a 5-wave structure to the upside. Okay, because if I switch this scenario back on, okay, now this, now I'm starting to go to a little bit more worst case scenarios, which is not so bad, but still bullish. Okay, let me just take this confirmation out the way. Do you guys see this little high over here? Okay, where I might have to go into the smaller time frames. Let's go into the 15-minute. Okay, there we go. This little high that we made over here, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If price cannot claim locally now this high at $112,900, there's a chance that this becomes a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it only bounces. Okay, so although I've put the Y over here because you have to end in a C wave, the structure can become larger in a C wave. You could have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I will move my Y over there. And this is now what we need to talk about. This is now the most important thing to talk about, is that we have a 5-wave structure to the downside. Okay. You have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the downside. The bulls, you have to claim that high. Otherwise, we're going down. You have to. If the bulls cannot claim this high, there's going to be shit. Okay. Because after a 5-wave impulse, if you make a 3-wave corrective structure like we have at the moment, price could 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 itself down here. Okay, it still has the possibility to tank. Right. One of the levels to the downside, I'm not sure if I still have it here, is these levels, guys, to the downside. You can see we bounced on the 0.618. I will be keeping an eye on all of these levels if the scenario had to play out. For me, it's important to have a trading plan to the downside and to the upside. Okay, can you guys see I'm prepared? If price stopped here, okay, and it's going to continue momentum to the downside, I'm going to be paying attention to these levels for a swing failure pattern. I know that there's that danger of that extreme impulse to the downside, okay? It's there, and this is why you have to practice good risk management. If I see this at any of these levels, I can attempt along with good risk management. Get stopped out if I was wrong and look for the next level. Okay, because this could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, and then the Y wave moves. Okay, so now I want to go onto the 5-minute time frame, and let's now talk about this structure. Okay, let me switch this off. Now we need to focus on this structure. And before I continue, remember guys, if you are not trading with the links down in the description, you're missing out on the best deals that these exchanges has to offer. Right, bluffing, guys, still, you deposit, you qualify for VIP 1 or 2, depending on how much you deposit. Okay, you get low trading fees if you get upgraded to VIP 1 and 2. And also weeks, guys, weeks are pulling out all the stops again. You still get your 20% cash back on the money that you deposit in your futures account. You get 25% discount on your trading fees, and you get upgraded to VIP status 1. Just by using this link, you get VIP status 1. And that's what gives you the discount on your trading fees. Right, they've also pulled out all the stops over here, 100% depending, if you deposit $500 into your futures account, they match it with the Ethereum position. Okay. Also, if you buy your email and phone number, you get up to $100 for free to trade with. And the more you trade, the more money gets airdropped into your account. So they're really pulling out all the stops over here. Okay. Bluffin, I think this is a little bit too small for everyone to read, but also with Bluffin, the more you trade and the more money you deposit, they also reward you with Ethereum that gets airdropped into your account. Okay, and you can win $2,000. Right. So guys, for the best deals on these exchanges, Bluffin, Weeks here at the moment. BTCC is also great if you want to trade commodities as well. You can use your crypto to trade Tesla, gold, silver. They have all of those options there as well. And a great sign-up bonus depending on the activities that you complete. And if you guys want to join our Legends Pro community where I've dropped all the alpha first, where we got into this amazing trade this morning, here's the link down in the description. Okay, now. Right, Legends, this structure, I must say, okay, I just have to say it the way that it is a three-wave structure at the moment. 1, 2, 3. It's a three-wave structure. Okay, I told the Legends, and this is exactly what I said while we were falling down here. I think we were falling down here. Okay, and yeah, we were over here somewhere. And I said, guys, it is so important for this high to be claimed again, to form a 5-wave structure to the upside. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I was looking for a short over here. Because after you form a 5-wave structure, well, you can get a 3-wave retracement and continue the momentum. This is what I wanted to see. And then price stopped and gave us a 3-wave structure. So now this is the danger. The only bullish structure that we have left, because guys, remember we have 5 waves to the downside. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's an impulsive wave to the downside. And this, for the moment, is a 3-wave structure. So that means you could fall. Okay, if you didn't get in with these little trades with good risk management, you could still fall aggressively here to the downside. The only bullish structure that I now see at the moment, because we did not claim this high again and we are continuing to still fall here, okay, and we do have a 3-wave. Can you guys see we have a 3-wave structure here? Now this is, you know, a little bit of good news. Thank goodness we have a 3-wave structure over here for now. Okay, if we do not claim this low, we have a 1, 2, 3. Okay, so for the bulls, you need to form a higher low and continue momentum to the upside so that it can stay a 3-wave structure. Because if it's going to fall down here, you have a problem. Houston, we have a problem. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. ABC correction, you fall. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. ABC correction, okay, and this now could be your first little wave inside of your massive 3rd wave to the downside. Okay, so the bulls have some work to do over here, guys. Okay, I know that Thursdays are usually bullish days, so I think if we're going to get an explosion, hopefully we'll get it today, but let's see what the bulls can do tomorrow, because I think if we need to get the dump, it needs to happen today. Okay, if it wants to fall, let it fall today, because usually, statistically, Thursdays are bullish days. So let it fall today, and then by tomorrow and Friday, it will start recovering back to the upside. Because remember, after a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, let it do that today, and then hopefully by tomorrow, we can start getting the recovery back to the upside. I'm not saying it's going to fall. So now I want to discuss, well, what is the last line in the sand for the bulls? Okay, can this low still be protected? Okay, it's a double 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, and it needs to go. And this structure needs to remain, and ideally you want this low to hold. Okay, this low should hold. Double 1, 2, it's the only bullish structure we have left. Okay, and you need to, if you take a fib, from the low to the high, you can see where price got the bounce. It's at the 618. Okay, and we were waiting for this little pivot. I was just waiting for this little pivot to be SFP'd, because I know that there's a chance, okay, for price to at least come and claim these highs. This is the trade that I'm looking at the moment, or that I'm in at the moment, guys. The trade that we are in is this one. Okay, well, for me, this is my trade. Okay, I can't tell you guys how you need to trade this, right? I'm just looking for that, because I realize that there's danger over here. There's a lot of danger over here, because this could be a 1. Okay, this is what I was looking at this morning. This could be a 1 because you have 5 waves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this could be a 1. And I was thinking, well, what if this is an A, B, C? and it continues momentum to the downside. Okay, where this was your first leading move to the downside. Now you guys are going to tell me, Dewald, but we tapped the 1.618. Okay, and this is why I want to see how this is going to play out. So, guys, if this is a leading move, and this is a B flat, and we're going up for a C flat. So you have a leading move, you have a flat corrective structure, and you're going to continue momentum to the downside. There's a lot of people that will tell me we tapped the 1.618, so it's invalidated. But I'm not sure if Joan is here in the live stream. Joan, are you here in the live stream? Myself and Joan actually did a lot of research on this little structure, and they can play out. Okay, so, and I'm going to show you an example of where it played out previously. It played out to perfection, exactly the way that it was supposed to play out. So let's entertain this scenario over here, just from a shits and giggles perspective. If this is an impulse, okay, let me see if I still have it here. And this is now the ABC. So guys, I can make it all pretty and sexy so we all follow, okay? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? And now this is a, B, C that's forming here to the upside. And if I take a trend-based fib to measure the B wave, you take it from the start of A to the end of A, and you reverse it to the downside. You can see that we tapped the 1.618. Okay, can you see this? We tapped the 1.618, which is usually an invalidation for a B wave. But okay, price needs to hold here, guys. It should not. Okay, while we're getting the retracement, it's potentially an opportunity to get into a little bit more of upwards momentum, because remember, if we're forming a C wave here to the upside, okay, it needs to be a 5-wave structure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It needs to form a 5-wave structure here to the upside. So I'm not stressing about this little retracement over here, because there's a chance it can form a higher low and continue 3, 4, 5 here to the upside. So I know price is dropping. You're most probably typing comments, yeah, well, price is dropping, what now, what now? It's just normal, guys. You need to form a wave 1, okay? You need to form a 1 to get the next leg to the upside, okay? And this is most probably what's happening over here, okay? If it takes the lows, by all means, I'll get stopped out with a little bit of profit and at break even, so I won't lose anything. And then I will be paying attention to this level, okay? Just by the way, guys, so if while I'm doing the technical analysis and I'm explaining what all of the scenarios, if price takes the low, I will be paying attention to the 2 extension together with the 786, because if there's any chance for the bulls, okay, 1, 2, 1, 2, that's your maximum target. Right, so let's just see how this plays out. But I think for now, it has a good chance to form a higher low. Okay, and continue. It's also broken trend, if I'm not mistaken. Has it broken trend? No, it hasn't, but it's broken this trend. That's the other breakout that I was looking for. Just by the way. Okay, so something that I want to point out over here, guys. I don't see this happen often, but I have seen it. And there's theory around it. Okay, so Joan, if you are here in the live stream, okay, or if you're going to watch it later, you know we've had this conversation. We've done the research together. Mark Dutch, welcome to the live stream, man. Mark is here. Yes, Mark is an absolute legend. Pac-Man, and all the other mods, I always appreciate you guys being here as well, moderating the comments. Okay, guys, I'm going to get into the comments, but I'm on a roll here, okay? I'm on a roll here. So, what I want to point out over here, let's clean it up a little bit. A B wave in a flat is allowed to tap the 1.618. But there's rules around it. Okay, the hardcore invalidation for a B wave, the hardcore invalidation is the 2. That is the invalidation for B wave. And I know we always speak about probabilities. You don't want a B wave to tap the 1.618. It needs to find support in this box, B flat target box. Okay, but there's an exception to, there's a rule to say that if you have a B wave that taps the 1.618, then the C wave also has to tap the 1.618 to the upside. Okay, So now we know the B wave tapped the 1.618. So if I take this out and I say, well, okay, now this C wave also needs to tap the 1.618. And now you might be asking yourself, well, Dewald, how do you measure it? Okay, I take it from A, B, and I get my C wave target. So I take a trend-based fib. Okay, let's do this. From the low of A to the high of A to the low of B, and I reverse it to the upside. Just something interesting I want to point out. And this is why I am planning to take profits over here. Because I realized that this could be the impulse. This could be a flat that everyone is saying it's invalidated. And the rule is if the B wave tapped the 1.618, the C wave has to tap the 1.618 as well. Then it's a valid flat. But the C wave has to tap the 1.618. 1.618. 1.618. Okay, and this is why I'm attempting this long here to the upside, because I realize that I'm not a moon boy that's just saying we're going. Okay, I realize that this can still be a flat structure and we fall down, and this is why I'm planning to take profits over here. And I've already taken a little bit of profits and protected my position. I realize that there is the chance for a 1-2-1-2, guys, but I am not, here to gamble. I am here to execute my trading plan. Okay, because I can tell you guys now, even just from a simplicity perspective, I know I went very technical with 1.618 and 1.618 and how I get there. I know it gets very complicated. From a simplicity perspective, if I take all of this out the way and I go here and I zoom into this little structure, I had some trends. Okay, where's my trend folder? Here we go. Okay, so purely from a trend line perspective, if I zoom into this structure, my rules are, okay, I see a trend forming. Okay, we broke out. I enter. Stop goes below the low. As soon as you start claiming these pivots, TP1, TP2. So purely by following my strategy, all of that other noise that I've shown you guys from a 1.618 perspective plays out in any event. Okay. Right. And I know some of you might find it interesting and fascinating. We didn't know that. I also didn't know that because I did a lot of research to figure this out, because we saw it somewhere. And myself and Joan, he's one of the people that I'm talking to, because he's also a very good technical Elliot wave counter. So sometimes we will put brains together and discuss some scenarios together, especially if we don't know what the hell's going on. Okay, myself and Andy do that as well. Right, so I want to go here onto the 15-minute time frame and just clean up the chart, right? Chip, 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 chip. And see if I still have it over here. Here we go. Right, this is where it happened. This is where we figured it out. Okay, same thing happened over here. You have, if I can remember correctly, you have an A, okay, a B that tapped the 1.618, which then says that the C has to tap the 1.618 as well. Okay, so we had an A, B, C, and it played out to perfection because we were trying to figure out what the hell is going on here. And then when we did the research, and the research stated that if you have a B wave that taps the 1.618, the C wave also has to tap the 1.618, which it did. Can you guys see this beautiful move? 1.618, 1.618, and you fell. So just wanted to point that out from a, from an educational perspective. So legends, keeping it simple, right? For the moment, here is a three-wave structure, okay? And for the bulls, you want to hold this low. Corrective structures are three-wave structures. Impulsive structures are five-wave structures. So if the bulls have any chance of still finding upwards momentum and claiming all of these highs, okay, always you guys, great TP areas, by the way, great TP areas. Okay, if the bulls can defend this low, because we have a three-wave structure to the downside, there's a chance that price can continue. 1 2 1 2, up we go, right? TP1, TP1, TP2, TP3, TP4, however you want to play this trade. But there's danger in this little scenario that I've just explained. Okay, A, B, C, and it can still fall, right? So if you are in a trade, this is why it's so important to take profits. Yes, it can continue to the upside, so that's where I leave a small little moon bag open for higher levels. Okay, but this is definitely a TP zone. Definitely, because this has happened in the past. That's all I want to say. From a simplicity perspective, you have a three-wave down. There's a chance you go up. I'm just telling you guys, why am I taking profits here if it can go up? This is why I'm taking profits, because I know that you can form an ABC flat and continue to the downside, because I've seen it happen before. Right. Just about following your trading strategy. From a structural perspective, the only bullishness that I see here at the moment is that this low needs to hold. And you could potentially have a 1 2 1 2 and you rock and roll to the upside. If price cannot claim this high, if it moves up and it rejects and it claims this low again, there's a high chance, okay, that we're going to claim this low. Right, do you guys see why it's so important to take profits when you're inside of a trade? Because you don't know where and how it's going to move. You don't know, right? Because you could have an epic trade over here, or you maybe were lucky and you caught this bottom over here and you just like, this is it, right? And price stops you out and you're like, shit. Because you get greedy, you don't have a plan. You need to execute your plan. It doesn't matter what price does after your plan. It really doesn't matter. Okay, let's now go through some comments. I think I've said what I wanted to say over here. Now let's go through some comments. I want to see what's happening here on the... Should I even go onto the 1 minute time frame? I want to see what is cooking over here. 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 okay, there's a chance that this could continue. Guys, I don't like to do technical analysis on such small time frames, but there's a chance that the low could be in, okay, because this low was made after the 0.382 with this impulse, but it could also form an A, B, C, and then continue. Okay, so it's still fine, whatever it wants to do over here. Most important for me was to get in over here so I don't have to worry about what's happening here. Okay, right. Look at me here on the 1 minute time frame. Okay, now let's go through some comments, guys. I hope I've explained all the probabilities, situations, scenarios as best as I possibly could. Right, Dewald is the man. Tom, smash the like for him. Thank you so much. Much love, brother. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining the live stream. Jeroen loves to get rejected at my 618. Woo. Smash the like, legends. 173 people watching, only 67 likes. Ooh, the like button is a little bit bearish today. Okay, is the like button bearish? What is cooking here with the like button? Right, we have, how many likes do we have? 72 likes. No, guys. I know that there's some people that just always hit the like, okay? But in this live stream, we break records. And we've done it many times, okay? Where the number of likes are more than the people watching the live stream. That's happened in the past, and it actually happens quite often where the community just surprises me. You just say, Dewald, you think you have 200 people watching the live stream? Watch the likes, okay? So I know we can do better than that. I know we can do better than that, right? It's the only way that you guys can show love towards the education and the alpha that I bring to this channel. And what keeps me here, okay? Bringing you guys more. Richard, Dutchy, Dewald, why didn't you count ABC in a simple way in 5 minutes rather than counting in a different way? Drav, I'm not sure what you mean. I'm not sure which structure you are referring to. Are you talking about this A, B, C? Okay. Or are you talking about this A, B, C that I'm referring to? I'm not sure which one you are referring to. Okay. Dewald, I have a question. Please don't scroll up. Please. Oh, scroll up, Stefan 1. Let me go and look for your question. Stefan 1. Dewald, look at 4-hour time frame. Okay, let's go to 4-hour time frame. Let's zoom in. Let's clean up the chart. Then, from $98,000. Okay, you're talking about this low, yeah? From $98,000, we haven't tapped 0.618, which is a good sign. What is your take? Yes, I mean, it's a good level. It really is a good level. And this is what I'm saying, guys. The most, who was it? Stefan 1, it's a really good level. Okay, even the 786 is a good level. In this zone is the best chance for the bulls. If we want to have an explosive bull market to the upside, this is where price needs to find support. Okay, because you need to protect this low. So I know there's some people that's counting this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that tapped is 618, which invalidates a fourth wave. Okay, I'm not going to go into all the details, but whether this is the impulse and this is all still part of the correction, or this is the end of the impulse, but then you want your correction to still continue for longer. You still need a larger correction if this is the end. If this is the end, the correction could be coming to an end. Okay, so let me show you here quickly. So first, Stefan 1, the one thing that I want to highlight here is you're very right. Okay, we have a massive consolidation area over here. Okay, lots of volume. Can you see these spikes of volume over here and a big volume node over here? Okay, this little volume node aligns with your 0.618, and this is why, guys, whatever happens over here, if price, okay, still comes down and taps the 618, I will consider a long entry because of this. It's not just a pretty fib level. There is also volume supporting this fib level. That's where confluences align. I know that the most bearish case scenario scares people out of their trades because people are looking at this as 1, 2, 1, 2, and you just tank. It doesn't have the highest probability, guys, and it might not even play out, okay? Because there's a chance that you are literally just going to form, okay, a 3-wave structure, and this little structure here just continues a little bit down. 3-wave structure, and it bounces. You have a mass. Let me zoom in here to show everyone. Can you guys see this? Look at this, guys. Look at that. That's support. That's proper support. Okay, where did we get the bounce? Look at that. Okay, that's where we got the bounce. So you guys can see that these levels are powerful. If price had to come down here, taps the 618, you have this. Okay, so definitely an area of interest. If price for some reason loses it, okay, you still have the point of control. You still have the 786. You still have a lot of volume in this zone to support a higher low for continuation back to the upside. And for the bulls, this is the best case scenario, is that you want this low to be protected. Okay, if this low can stay protected, even if the correction still goes sideways, if this low can be protected, it opens up the door to a 112, which is more bullish at the end of the day. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, this is why this low is so important. We have nice volume supporting a higher low in this zone. Whether it wants to do it now or whether it wants to do it later, it's perfectly fine. Okay, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but there's a lot of people saying that, Dewald, this looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the impulse ended over here. Okay, from the low to the high, you want the correction to finish after the 0.382 if this is the high. This can't be the end. Okay, so it still needs to chop before it goes. The correction, the low needs to be made after, what is this? The 2nd of September. It can even go here to the 1-to-1 extension, the 4th of October. So you guys can see that we can still have a corrective structure during the whole of September and not take this low. Okay, and the longer price goes sideways without taking the low, the higher the probability becomes that you're not going to take the low. Then some people might say, okay, Dewald, and this is what I'm seeing as well. If I take the fib from the second wave, ABC, from the second wave, okay, this is now just following Elliot wave theory rules. If I say this is 1, 2, okay, and this is 3, 4, 5, wave 4 tapped the 0.618, which invalidates a fourth wave, which means this is the top, not this. This is part of the corrective structure. Okay, so then it changes. Now you take your time fib from this high. And now you can see, well, okay, the bulls have a chance. Okay, if this is the top, and this is a B, C, W, X, Y, however you want to count this corrective structure, well, it's now after the 0.382, which is the minimum requirement. Yes, it can still go to the 1-to-1 extension, even the 2 extension. Okay, so there's a chance to go up or to go up. Something interesting that I always like to look at is the logarithmic scale. Something very interesting, because if I go to the log scale, just want to see. Yeah, it really depends on where you're counting your second wave over here. Okay, because if I count this structure, let me just take this out the way. If I count this as a 1, 2, okay, and this is another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, which means that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It did not tap the 0.618 on the log scale. If I go to the regular, it did. If I go to the log, it didn't. So there is a chance that this is the high. There is a chance that this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, but then you have to acknowledge that this is too soon. You want to see a larger 3-wave structure. Okay, it can still form a flat, doesn't matter. Right, so Stefan 1, you've sparked some conversation over here. Okay, you've sparked some good conversation. Right, Jeroen loves to get rejected at my. Okay, I've gone through that. Common, it's freeze smash. Okay, let's go here to super chat. Super chat. Thanks for the super chat, man. What is cooking with the super chat? Thanks for the clear, helpful trading tips. Wow, you just sent me a super chat to say thanks. Much appreciated. Much love to you and your family. I really appreciate it. Okay, as per the beginning of this stream, it seems like you're saying the stepping into the bear market from here have a higher chance? No. If it's a leading diagonal, because guys, I know it's all over social media. Okay, if I go to the 8-hour time frame, what I want to highlight over here, looking at this entire structure. Okay, let's talk about probabilities, because you said that there's a higher probability to start a bear market. If I look at, I just need to find that. Okay, I can't find that now. But if I look at this structure as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, got some alarms going off. Okay, so you basically have a contracting diagonal. Okay. A contracting diagonal has the following probabilities. You either get 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. Okay, that's the most bullish structure. Then you get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, in a leading diagonal or an ending diagonal, and then you get, let's just do this again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that's very ugly. Let me do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So, from a probability perspective, this one carries the highest probability based on theory. An ending diagonal, which means that this is the top and it's going to take the low, okay, it's going to do this, carries the second highest probability. And a leading diagonal, where you make a higher low and continue to the upside, carries the lowest probability. So from a probability perspective, this one carries the highest probability. But the bulls needs to protect this low. So from the highest probability perspective is you want a 1, 2, 1, 2, not take this low. It's not allowed to. 1, 2, 1, 2, and off you go. This scenario carries the highest probability because I see everyone is looking at the contracting diagonal. Okay, the contracting diagonal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, in a contracting situation, the second highest probability is taking out the low. So the highest probability has not been invalidated. Once the price takes this low, then we're going to start talking about contracting diagonals. Okay, I don't like to count the structure as a contracting diagonal. I know everyone is counting it as a contracting diagonal, and there's very few people looking at it as a double 1, 2. Okay, once price takes this low, then we're going to be like, okay, shit. Now, a leading diagonal or an ending diagonal carries the highest probability. Then there's going to be crap. Oh, crap. Okay, but there's still a chance that the leading one can play out. So from a probability perspective, the highest probability at the moment is that this low needs to be protected. And we're forming a 1, 2, 1, 2, and we're going to continue to the upside. Okay, or it could be 1, 2, and continue to the upside, but you should not take the low. And it's just based on theory, guys. I have seen many leading diagonals play out on Bitcoin. So it's not that they never play out. I have seen many, many leading diagonals play out. I'm not sure if I still have one where I want to show you guys where I've seen a couple play out. Maybe I still got it saved here in my folders. Macro completed WXY contracting. Here we go. Let me see if I can find it. Ooh, it's all the way here. You know, guys, to find stuff on smaller time frames so long ago. I wish TradingView would build in a feature where you can type in the date or you can zoom in onto smaller time frames without losing the spot. But here was one. Okay, I remember it. I saved it. There was one that happened here. A leading diagonal. They do play out. And there's been many more. I've just saved this one as an example because it was a beautiful one. Okay. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can you see? Contracting. You have an A, B, C, and we continued to the downside. So they do play out. Although they carry the lowest probability, they do play out. So it's not like I'm sitting here telling you guys that a leading diagonal will never play out. They do play out. Okay, they just carry the lowest probability. You don't see them often, but they do happen. Here was a perfect one. And we as a community, I remember Andy, myself, the pro members, we shorted the shit out of this structure. When we saw this, okay, this is why I saved it. Entered a short. I had my stop above the high. I was building a position here, and it just fell here to the downside. This was a beautiful trade that we all took together. Okay, based on Elliot wave theory. Dewald Legend, that call on Legends Pro is working amazing. Thank you. Is it really? Is it still playing out? Let me go back here. Okay, where are we? Can like to be. Okay, is it? Oh, it's pumping. It's pumping here to the upside. It's pumping. It's pumping. Nice, very nice, very nice. Okay, so guys, just to wrap this up, there's a chance that you could roll out here in a double 1-2 combo. Okay, but there's also a chance that you're going to reject here by the highs. Okay, and fall down. This is why this is such an important profit taking area. I will definitely leave some of my position open for this. I will leave some of the position open. If not, I'm going to get stopped out at break even with 80% profits. Right. This also, guys, profit taking areas, also very interesting shorting opportunities. Okay. Why else would you take profits at a level if you think you know, just for shits and giggles? No, you're taking profits at a level because you're expecting price to find resistance and to roll down. Right, legends, I know that I have seen some altcoin requests in here. I have unfortunately run out of time. 10 minutes over my time that I plan to do the live stream for. So remember to smash up that like button. The more you smash up the like button, the more you write comments after the live streams, the more I will come and do YouTube live streams and educate everyone. Okay, so have yourselves an amazing trading day. Thanks for joining the live stream. Until the next one, cheers for now.